Ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come. The creator of a game has reached out to me and asked me to review his game, even offering me early access to the game so I could play it and review it for you guys. At first, I was a little skeptical because let's face it, I'm a nobody, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited, because somebody wants me to review their game. Even offering me early access, how could I turn that down? How's it going, everybody? I'm CloudRaids and welcome to the channel, where I talk about video games and everything surrounding them. Like I said before, I have been asked to review a game early, and that game just happens to be Claritas Dungeon, an old school RPG-like game that's only $5.99 on release, and it comes out in January 2025. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video. I thought to myself, if I'm gonna dump on AAA games, I might as well turn around and review some indie games, for better or for worse. If I'm gonna do the talk, I might as well walk the walk. So if you have any games that you would like me to review, well, feel free to contact me. And I feel like I should also state that I have not been paid to make this review. This is not a sponsor. This is all just my truthful opinion. If reviewing these games can help people find another game that they love, or even help the creators who spent hundreds of hours working on this game, at least just a little bit, well then that's a win in my book. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Upon loading into the game, you can understand what I mean by old school RPG vibes. It kinda reminds me of Terraria a little bit with the pixelated graphics, but I kinda like it. One thing that stood out to me though was that there is no tutorial. You're kind of just thrown into this world and you have to figure out what to do for yourself. If you play a lot of RPG games, well then this won't be a big issue for you. It'll only take a couple of minutes to get your bearings as this game is kind of straightforward, but if you don't play a lot of RPG games, a tutorial might be a great addition in this game, especially to help out the new players. But upon loading in, you start off to what seems to be a market. This will be the main base of operations. If you're not exploring another world, you're gonna be here, either buying or selling your goods to help you in your further exploration. You even start off with a little bit of gold so you can buy something that tickles your fancy. But eventually you will have the options to choose between going to the forest or going to the sand area. And for my first run, I decided to go to the forest, where they have this cool little way to explore the area, where you walk around the darker areas lighting them up to either find chests or maybe a random fight could just happen. So you always have to be ready. One thing I feel like I do have to mention is the controls. And what I mean by this is you can't move around with WASD. You can either click to move around, which is what I prefer, or you can use the arrow keys. I don't think I've used the arrow keys in a very long time. I don't mind the clicking to move around, that's usually what I use anyways, but if you're gonna allow keys to be able to move, like the arrow keys, I would prefer it to be WASD. It's nothing game changing, but I thought that was a little strange. I haven't used the arrow keys in what seems like forever until this game. But you know those two events that I mentioned earlier, the chest or the random fights? Well, I forgot to mention one more. Well, two more. There's a chance for you to find this little hole in the ground, and it allows you to make decisions, game-changing decisions. Some have good effects, some have bad effects, and that's up to you to decide. And honestly, I didn't expect that, and I really liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. But with my first decision, I realized reality hit me pretty hard. Because with my decision, I immediately started a boss fight that I was not ready for. And in return, I got my ass kicked for about 5 minutes straight. And while I watched my whole squad die one by one, it did give me a good opportunity to look at the fighting in this game. And well, it's not bad. I was a little worried because of the controls before, but the fighting did not disappoint. You have the options to look at the enemies to see what their weaknesses are, to even looking at your teammates to check on how they're doing. And each character in your party has different fighting types. Some might be arcane, some might be slashing, some might be piercing if you have the archer. Meaning, depending on who you fight or what you fight, different characters in your party might be better at it than your main character. But that's okay, because you guys are all fighting in this together. You either live as a squad or die as a squad. And well, for my first playthrough, I kinda learned that the hard way. And no, I didn't add that to the video, that's what the reality of death looks like in this game. Every time your squad dies, you're gonna have to see this screen. And for me, I've seen it one too many times. Because while this game might look easy on the outside, sometimes this game can be a real pain in the ass. but in a good way, because who doesn't love a challenge, especially when it's an RPG. And after my first death, I decided to go to the Beachlands, and this is where I really got to understand and truly enjoy this game, because at this point I understood how the game worked, I understood how the items worked, and I really understood how the bosses worked. And getting to play this game at its full potential was really something else. I said I was skeptical before going into this game, but I found myself truly enjoying it. Playing this game really brought me back to simpler times, almost like I was playing MapleStory for the first time all over again. I really enjoyed this game, but if you're not a big fan of pixelated games or you care too much about graphics, well then maybe this game just isn't for you. But for me personally, I thought it had a pretty good charm. Now it's not a perfect game by any means, but I don't think that any games are perfect. And keep in mind, this is only one man working on this game, and it's still in beta, so there's still plenty of stuff for him to work on, and he still has plenty of time. And if I had to say one thing to the creator, I would say just keep on working, because I can see the vision that you have, and I'm excited to see the other worlds, because any indie game is going to take some time, and I get that, and I honestly hope that I can play this game in the future when it fully releases, because unlike a lot of other games, this game might not have the best graphics, and it might need some improvements here and there. This game has a soul. Some games might look 10 times better, but they're also pretty soulless. I can tell that a lot of time and a lot of love went into this game, and the fact that you're hustling sending emails to me to review this game, I respect that a lot, and honestly, I hope nothing but the best for you and for your game. I hope you take the criticism not only from me, but from everybody, and truly build upon what you already have, because right now it's good, and you can make it great. So in conclusion, I recommend you guys try out the game when it releases. Especially for only $5.99, it's not bad at all. And if he's got the dedication to reach out to people to try out his game, I definitely think that he's going to continue working on it and making it better and better. But with all that being said, I'm CloudRaids and this is my channel, which means I guess this is my video. If you enjoyed it, maybe leave a like, but if you loved it, possibly subscribe. If not, I get it, it's okay. But let me know down in the comments below. Would you guys be willing to check out an indie game made by one person? Would you be willing to check out this indie game? I recommend you do, but who knows? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Either way, I love you guys, y'all have a great day, and like always, I don't know what time it is there, so probably have a great night too. Mwah.